My name is Autumn Tompkins. I have a bachelor's degree in English literature and rhetoric from Pendleton University, and I have a master's degree from Ithaca College in organizational communications, learning, and design. I've held only one real job my entire life.
Autumn was diagnosed at 14 days of age that she had muscular dystrophy, and she wasn't expected to make it, that she would probably die within 3 months, never certainly to be a year old, and never to be 5, and packing her off to kindergarten. So we never expected any of this, just take her home and make her comfortable.
Autumn has an unusual form of what we call in the trade a congenital myopathy. Her muscle is there, but it was basically built a little bit funny. So while it works to a point, it doesn't work effectively. And over time, it works less effectively, and this has resulted in her having to have help with breathing. She requires a wheelchair. It has no effect on her intellectual function.
She did everything we did. I mean, we'd go for a walk. She'd go with us. We'd go swimming. She'd hop in the pool for a few minutes and then have to get out. She'd go down to the barn and see the animals. She did everything with us. She tried to keep up as much as she could. If something happened, then we'd slow down and pick her up and keep going.
She never looked at life any differently than any other child. If there was something to be done, she did it. Even from her chair, she would help do anything that was possible. And she's never been a person, a dear, or a poor me baby, never.
In 10 years, I would really like to own my own business. But in 10 years, at minimum, I want to have a job. I figure something has got to come along in 10 years. Although I said that a year ago, and 2 years ago, and the year before that. During my job search, the early phase of it, I applied strictly for positions that were mid-level executive, thinking that I could get that kind of job right out of college.
So you've applied to this one before?
Twice. I actually got a face-to-face interview, but then was turned down. My priorities changed after I had been on my 50th job interview and was rejected.
Her dream job has been up and down with these interviews, and you can't say you've seen, she still has the same drive, but it's so disappointing day after day when she is interviewed and you really think in your heart that she has that job, and then it falls through.
And we kind of laugh and say, you know, what room in the house would you like to wallpaper with all your job resumes and refusals, emails that come back saying, no, we don't want you, we don't need you.
It's frustrating, it's disappointing, it's saddening because she has so much to offer. And not only is it important for Autumn, but so many companies are just missing out on a gifted professional.
She has a beautiful mind, and I think, given the opportunity, I think that she can prove herself and say, look, here I am, this is what I can do, take it or leave it.
They won't, though. They see the wheelchair and that's what they look at. They don't want to know the person that she actually is.
A lot of things go through my head when I receive a rejection letter, or an envelope that I know is a rejection letter. First I think, okay, it's not, I know it is, but it's not, it can't be, not this time. Then ultimately I open it and it's a rejection. But I just think, you know, okay, there's something, maybe I did something, or maybe they're just not looking. You know, it does drag down a little bit. But then it's okay, moving on to better things. I have a special place for all the rejection letters that I receive from companies. that actually was in a shoebox, buried in the back of my closet, so that the only real rejection in my life is tucked away, then I don't have to deal with that. I believe a lot in destiny and fate and stuff like that. And I just think that there's something else better out there waiting for me. You must have a 4-year degree. No type of experience required. I really don't want to be useless. I feel like I'm useless right now. I want to be a productive member of society. Jean Fairbairn sent me the original position for the advancement writer. And I applied for that. And then I was turned down. But they didn't say if the other person that they hired didn't work out or if their search yielded no results. So then they decided to re-interview people. So this is everything Pendleton University sent me about the advancement writer position. These are all the publications I would be in charge of. I would actually be working with 22 different departments across campus. So it's quite an ambitious job. They sent me a really nice folder with a letter to inform me of my selection to be interviewed. It's a very professional packet. I was taken back by it because I usually don't get things like this in the mail. Made me feel like I was actually going to have a professional interview. So I'm headed up to Pendleton University for the advancement writer position interview. I'm really excited and can't wait to meet everybody that I'm going to interview with. Kind of nervous at the same time, but I'm prepared. I have questions to ask, so I'm ready for anything. The interview went well. I'm very excited, and although it was a long interview, I was able to keep them engaged and got a lot of good feedback. So I'm hopeful that they'll offer me the position.
She can go out and do everything that we can do, and sometimes do it better than we can do. You know, she says she's going someplace. Guess what? Just stay by, because she's going and she's not stopping.
Well, she's just been very special. Even when we'd go camping, she never let anything bother her. She made it, you know, everybody feels at ease with her.
Yes, she needs help with her breathing. Yes, she needs aggressive monitoring of her heart, cardiac status. Her brain's fine, though.
Give the shirt off her back to anybody. And she's in a wheelchair, and yet society can't do the same for her.
Autumn is no charity case. She's a bright person, and I think anyone who had her brain power in their company would be well served by her.
Because of her disability, I think she has a different way of thinking about things that people take for granted. And so she can challenge existing assumptions, and she can challenge different ideas and opinions, and in doing so, I think that gives her a different creative spin on things.
You know, she's not stupid. She understands that she's got significant problems. She wants them taken care of as best as they can be by the medical community, and then she wants to go on and live her life.
Interview after interview and job after job, and they give so much hope until they see the chair. When they see the chair, everything seems like it disappears.
I don't usually tell them, simply because now it's all about me getting a reaction. I want to see what the reaction is. Do you ignore it? Do you ask me about it? Because I'm going to disclose to you at some point that I will require accommodations, but they're not outrageous, and that I will bring my assistant with me to help me, you know, like get lunch and things like that. I will tell them that.
So the question really is for you, Autumn. I think, you know, part of me says I might just ask up front when you have an interview, is your site accessible?
Okay.
You know, I just want you to know I'm a wheelchair user.
Okay.
Just so I think they could maybe wrap their head around the idea that this is what to expect, And, you know, I think sometimes that might end up being a smoother situation for you.
Okay.
Okay? You don't have to do that, though. This is really your choice.
Right.
When and where and how to disclose.
If you have a visible disability and you go into an interview, the employer is going to have questions. They may not ask them because now they're illegal to ask, but that doesn't mean they don't have the questions. So I always tell students, if there's some questions that you think they have, you need to be able to share them confidently.
As a result of applying to different companies, I've actually ended up volunteering at a lot of places because they won't hire me, but I figure the experience will help me.
You're welcome. This is Bella.
One of many organizations that I volunteer for is the Southern Tier Alternative Therapies. It is a program that facilitates equine-assisted therapeutic riding for children with all types of disabilities. A lot of the autistic children that we provide scholarships to ride horses, some of them say their first words on a horse. You know, they have to give it commands, things like that. And, you know, the parents are just beyond grateful for that opportunity.
When my daughter was, I want to say 3 years old, I'm not exactly sure, and this was a big step. She went to a horse farm, and the people brought this horse, an absolutely humongous horse, and her name was Monique. And Autumn goes, I'm not getting up on that horse. And her physical therapist was with us, and she said, yes, you are, because it'll be good for you and for your muscles, and it'll make you feel wonderful. And before she knew it, the horse is taking a couple of steps forward, and Autumn's hanging on, and the owner of the stable and her physical therapist are sidewalking her, and Autumn's having a wonderful time. She did horseback riding at that stable until she was 10 years old, which at that point she had a total spinal fusion. Was not able, because of the spinal fusion, to ride horses anymore. But that was the most freedom my daughter ever had. I don't mean to cry. Not being tied to a wheelchair, but able to be an equal on a horse with 4 legs, doing the movement for her, riding with other children, and not being held back. And I think it was one of the best experiences my daughter ever had.
Oh, look at this. I love all these people around you. Crow on your lap.
One thing you're involved with when you're a child, and it makes me feel a little bit more useful. Even though I'm without a job, I can still give back to the community. If my doctor hadn't told my mother, I would have had no idea. I would never have gained any experience with horses whatsoever. I would never have been able to walk for as long as I did. Ideally, any job right now I would take, but I would really like to, at some point in my life, own my own business.
I'm Janet Herzog, and I am the Director of Continuing Education at Broome Community College, and Autumn was one of the EAP clients in this last class that we had in the fall. It's a 60-hour program that takes people who are looking to start a business and helps them develop a bank-ready business plan. We go through market research, web design, development, statistics, those types of things, so when they're done with the program, they have a document that they can take to a bank if they're looking to get funding.
I put a lot of work into this plan. I actually even have day-to-day activities that my employees will be responsible for. But what I'm really the most proud of is my marketing strategy.
We run a business plan competition, and that's on a voluntary basis. People who are feel comfortable enough to want to present in front of a panel of judges, present their business plans, and we fundraise all year long to get money, and we provide cash prizes for the business plan competition. This is actually the second business plan I've seen Autumn write. We met her when she entered a business plan competition with the city of Binghamton, and after that competition she decided to join the class and really focus on her business plan and change her business concept.
I also think it's important, in order to win this competition, that you have a location for sure.
Yes.
You're very smart. You've put a lot of work into this. A lot of work into this. You write extremely well.
Thank you.
Everything in here is very articulate. We just need to move it around so the important stuff is up front, and expand on the feasibility study and make those financials stand on their head and dance.
Yes.
No mistakes.
Yes. Then after speaking with Jenny Robert, she and I decided that it might be better for me to refocus my business plan into something a little bit more manageable. And from that, I've decided to start a gourmet popcorn shop, still located in downtown Binghamton. I'm going to call it Insult Popcorn, and it will actually be insult as in INSALT, but it will actually be popcorn with insults on them. You suck or whatever would actually, I'd have to do a little bit more search to find socially acceptable sarcasm, because this is the age of sarcasm. It's everywhere you look. They say sex sells, no, sarcasm sells.
What she's doing now is a little bit more mainstream. She understands better what a business plan is all about. We've worked together quite a bit, and yes, I think she has a much better chance this year.
It says, Dear Autumn, the search committee for the position of advancement writer at Binghamton University would like to thank you for the time you invested in interviewing with our team and selected committees. This letter is to inform you that you were not selected for the position. Again, thank you for your interest in Binghamton University. And this letter is around a month after I interviewed, which I was supposed to hear from them in 2 weeks. The way I cope with some of these situations, from medical problems up through, even being rejected for a job, I just think, there's somebody else who has it worse than I do.
If she can do it, anybody can do it. That's the attitude that we've all learned from her, is if she can go out and do something, then I should be able to go out and do it too.
It does become emotionally draining. Then I do have to step back and realize, okay, it's just one more job interview that you didn't make it through. It's just one more place that really didn't want to hire you. If the employer really doesn't care and they want to, interview me, then that's wonderful. But if they're going to say no just because they don't want to deal with it, then they really don't deserve me to work for their company. Even if I don't win, I'm going to start this business. And then, I'm still, of course, going to be looking for a job, but that's going to go on the back burner now. I could really have something to call my own, and say, look at what I did. Nobody wanted to hire me, but I did this and I did it on my own.